on top of juggling all my other cases, I would go to this mom's apartment just to make sure the baby was alive. And every single time I would walk up the stairs to that door, I would just be terrified that this was the time the baby was going to be dead.
Welcome to Dream Small, where we believe God does big things through the small and everyday faithfulness of His people. I'm Jason.
And I'm Whitney. We're a family of 8 who's fostered, adopted, and stumbled our way through learning that small, everyday choices can change lives.
In a world that tells you to chase big, we dare you to dream small.
Because you know what? It's not about chasing fame. It's about choosing faithfulness. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Dream Small podcast. We have a guest with us today, and I'm super excited for her to share her story and her experience as we continue with Foster Care Awareness Month. And she has a bunch of experience professionally, personally, and then again, also professionally, like times 10. So I'm super excited for you to get to hear directly from her, just to continue to raise awareness and as we continue through the month of May. So Jason, if you want to read her intro, go for it.
All right, so we have Moriah with us today. Born and raised in Texas. Moriah, what part of Texas?
The Dallas area.
Okay, I think everybody's from the Dallas area because it's a really big
spot.
It's a really big area too.
Mm-hmm.
She attended Moody Bible Institute in Chicago to study Bible, theology, children's ministry, and special needs ministry. In 2019, Moriah started working for the Indiana Department of Child Services. She worked as a family case manager in permanency and foster care during her time there. She left the department in 2023 and started a job as a domestic violence coordinator, providing support to victims and education to the community before transitioning to her local victims advocate office. She was the victim advocate assigned to a majority of the child crime victims in their county. She is currently the foster and adoption family support lead at Traders Point Christian Church. Moriah and her husband, Austin, were licensed foster parents for almost 4 years, and they recently adopted a sibling group of 3. Moriah also serves on the executive board of Champions for Children, a grassroots organization focused on making Indiana children safer. In her very limited free time, she loves reading, camping, backpacking, hiking, CrossFit, crafting, and spending time with her dogs. Is that it? Is that all? Is that,
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure?
No.
You're right. Yeah.
Like
well,
I
Moriah,
said,
thank you
go
for
ahead.
coming on the podcast with us.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm not going to lie. I know we just met you're one of my new favorite people, just getting to spend time with you at that conference. And
Mm-hmm.
it's fun to connect with people. You're like, oh, she's one of us. So that's always fun.
Yeah, we
get it.
fangirl you.
Thanks.
You're one of our heroes. I love it.
Well, you guys are one of mine, so I'm excited.
So on our
to be with you.
podcast, we start with something we're grateful for every day because, in our world, we can get in a mire of negativity. So what are you grateful for today?
I am grateful we have the keys to our new house. This has been a couple month long process, but right now I'm living about an hour and a half away from my church and my job. So I'm so excited to move closer, to be about 13 minutes away instead of an hour and a half away. I've been driving about 12 to 20 hours a week for almost a year now. And that's just taking a lot of time away from my husband and my family. And I am so excited for there to be an end in sight for that.
You're going to have so much extra time
I know.
every day.
I'm
like,
so
what are you going to
excited.
do?
Well, Whitney, if you had paid attention, she is going to read, camp, backpack, hike, CrossFit, craft, and spend time with her dogs.
Kind of like how
Exactly.
I thought I'd learn all these new skills when I became a stay-at-home mom again, and I haven't done any of them. Those kids will take up that time real quick.
Oh, yes.
All right, Whitney, what are you thankful for today?
I'm thankful that my surgery is in the background. I'm thankful that my healing seems to be ahead of schedule. And goodness, I'm thankful that I don't even know how to word this, that we have God on our side, because parenting is not for the faint of heart.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? No,
I'm thinking back
I'm
to
kidding.
Bert.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm clearly kidding. I'm thankful for, in connection with Whitney surgery, all the support we've had from our friends down here. We have had lots of food. We have Whitney's small group table at church paid for laundry service, which when you have a family of 8, it's a lot of laundry.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
It is awesome. It's also kind of funny. The first round, our clothes got mixed up with the lady that was leading it, her family's clothes, and clothes came back in a kid size that I actually recognized as no child of mine. And it also happened to correspond with a moment we got clothes from a friend of ours. So we just assumed it was these new clothes that came in because we hadn't had a chance to go through it. And it was in Leah's room, and we just figured she just dumped it all out and put it in the lawn. Well, no, it turned out it was actually their clothes. And so that's
So
fun.
now we're trying to retract all the clothes that shouldn't be in our house that made it to different rooms. So it's been super fun. It's just a comedy of errors, right? Like, but yes, we've been blessed beyond measure. Yeah.
Well, Moriah, this is your show.
How about that?
Like we talked about in our last episode, May is Foster Care Awareness Month. And you're you have maybe not every side of foster care. You've covered a lot of the different sides of foster care. So we definitely wanted to have you on. Glad it timed up to have you on this month. So you just tell your story, what you wanted to. I mean, you can start. I think this episode also might end up getting split in 2 because nobody wants to listen to an hour and a half podcast. Just start us off. How did you? Well, I'll actually ask a question, get us rolling. It's kind of rude of me to just say, "Hey, go ahead, go." How did you ever get connected with foster care?
Yeah, so when I was in middle school in Texas, my youth pastor and his wife, they were foster parents, and that was my first introduction to foster care. They were a younger couple, I think late 20s at the time, and they were taking in these kids and just pouring into these kids, and I got to know these kids. I got to love on these kids. I got to see the good and the hard, and just really like open my eyes to what foster care is supposed to be. And so as I got older and went off to college, I met my husband, and when we were dating, one of the things that I asked him about was foster care. I wanted to make sure that whoever I would spend the rest of my life with was also willing to step into foster care and adoption with me. And I remember one night sitting in my dorm, and I was like, I'm just going to ask him. And I texted him, and I loved his answer. So I said, okay, I can keep dating this man, keep, following this journey.
Can you share his answer?
It was just how God's heart is for orphans and widows, and how else could we, of course we would.
That's fantastic. That's awesome.
He also had adopted sisters as well. So it was kind of already something that had been on his mind a little bit. And so, yeah, let's do it. And after we graduated, we moved to Indiana. We had been here about a year or so when I started working for DCS. And I started working for DCS just because I needed a job. I wanted a job that I could interact with kids in some way, but wasn't being like a daycare teacher or something like that. And every single office in my area was hiring. So I just submitted application after application after application to all the different offices around me. Got a call back from one, and I got a job offer the day of my interview. I don't know if that's because I was a great candidate or if they were desperate.
Probably both. Knowing you, both. I'm guessing both, yeah.
And so, yeah, I was working as a permanency case manager. So that means I was working long-term with the families, getting them resources, support, services, interacting with a lot of foster and adoptive parents along the way, and just realized really quickly how important it was for foster parents to be strong Christians and to be strong advocates for their kids. Mm-hmm. And so I was going home every night and sharing these stories with Austin and telling him just about like what I was going through, what I was seeing. I've got some wild stories from my time there, but also some really good ones. And so both he and I just felt like God was calling us to step into foster care too.
Wow. I love that this seed was planted for you back in middle school, that your
Yes.
youth pastor
Mm-hmm.
modeled this care of orphans and children in need and vulnerable children and families. And that stuck with you. I think
Yes.
that is so special and such a good reminder for us as adults that kids are watching, right? What
Mm-hmm.
they see us do matters more than
Yes.
we ever realize. What you saw shaped the course of your future and
Yes.
what your family looks like now. That's just
Exactly.
incredible.
And
Yeah.
I actually ran into Denise, who was the one of the pastors at a foster and adoption conference last year, out of the blue. I didn't know she was going to be there. She didn't know I was going to be there. We were walking past each other, and our eyes happened to meet, and we were both like in complete shock. And I got to, at the middle of this foster and adoption conference, thank her for the impact that she'd had on my life,
That
and
gives me chills.
how
That's incredible.
it was her that had brought me to where I was. And so that was just really cool, just to get to, it was at a conference in Houston that I was able to fly down for, and just be able to like stop and thank her for
That had to
modeling
be
that.
such a special moment for her to see you and to hear that and to see where your life has taken you.
It was amazing.
Wow.
What are some stories that you can share from your time as a case manager that you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah.
Whatever you
Are you
want
wanting
to
crazy
Maybe
ones?
maybe one from each end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it's sort of just people hear the news stories, right? And they think that just to shed a little bit more awareness on what actually happens in the real world day to day. Whatever you want to share, whatever you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah. So I had about 50 kids on my caseload over the 3 years that I was a case manager.
What was the most at a snapshot in time?
29.
What was? Jeez.
So I think technically that's within the allowed caseload number that caseworkers can have, but it shouldn't be.
No.
I had kids placed all over the state. So at least one day a month, I would leave my house at 4 a.m. And I would drive from my house to Evansville.
How far for people who are? How far is that? How many hours?
4.5 hours.
Like you're talking one quarter of the state to the other corner,
almost,
right?
Yeah. Yep. And then I would have to stop and see a couple other kids that were down that way, and then try to squeeze in like one in Kokomo before shooting over to home. And then another day I would have to do a northern sweep of the state, and I would go up to South Bend and see a kiddo up there. And working 60 hours a week regularly, just trying to squeeze in. At that point, when you have 29 kids, you're not working ahead. You're not
you're treading water. Yeah.
You're treading water. You're putting out fires day after day after day. And it really puts you in a survival mode. You're not thriving, you're surviving, and it's just not a great place to be. Couple funny stories, I guess. There was one time that I had just gotten a new case and went out to a bio parent's home to meet her, and she was not happy about me being there, and she threw a vacuum at me. And then proceeded to throw a baby gate at me after that. Didn't hit me, but might have traumatized the intern that I took with me that day.
Now, is this for a removal?
The kids had already been removed. I was just meeting with her.
Oh, she just was mad at you. Okay.
Yeah, just a normal everyday for me. Like, oh yeah, she threw a vacuum, but she didn't hit me, so we're fine. But I think the intern might have questioned wanting to do social work after that.
I want to hop in really quick. That made me remember something. I think we've shared it at some point on the podcast. My first job out of college was as a DCS worker also. And my supervisor, I was in the intake and assessment department, so I was doing the removals. And my supervisor at the time told me, if you ever have a question about how the parents are going to react, take the police with you. And he said there are 3 things that you don't want to mess with people. You don't mess with their money, you don't mess with their kids, and you don't mess with their homes. And I always remembered that because it's true. Like people can go a little crazy. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that little tip. Too late, right? But
it's crazy, like the things that I was used to as a caseworker. And
right? Yeah.
Me and one of my coworkers, we both used to work for DCS, so every once in a while we'll be sitting chatting and, oh yeah, one time this and one time that. And our other coworkers are sitting at, like staring at us with like open mouth, like shock. And they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, that was just a normal Tuesday. Like,
right. And I was talking to a friend today, like you're talking like, oh, if you're going into a home that's gross, put Vicks on your upper lip, or make sure you roll up your pants so they're not like touching the ground if there's cockroaches, right? Like just
don't
little
wear
tips
flip-flops, wear sneakers that you can run away in case you have to.
Yes.
Make sure your keys are in your hand in case you need to use them to defend yourself. Yeah.
That's like the stuff that should really be normal in the handbook. Yeah.
Maybe you guys should do, I was going to say, maybe we can do an episode down the road where you two give safety tips for case managers.
Here's how far away you wait for police. That was my life at the time.
Oh, goodness gracious. And you did this for 4 years, right?
Yes. I was in permanency for almost 3, and then I was a foster care specialist for about a year and a half.
Wow.
So,
bless you.
Yeah, I guess a fun story that I like to share that has a happy ending. I was working on call. I believe it was on a weekend, and it'd been a really, really long night. I think I was going on 13 hours straight of working. It was the middle of the night, and I had already like taken one child to a foster home, was going back to the office to drop off some stuff, and they were like, hey, can you stick around a little bit? We might need you again. And so I was told at that point to go to the local hospital and pick up a little baby. I think he was about 4 months old at the time. And I went and picked him up. He had been in a car accident. His mother was intoxicated, had crashed. They had taken him to be evaluated. Mom was arrested, and we had removed the baby. The baby was naked because they'd had to take all his clothes off. So I picked him up, took him back to the office. We didn't have any clothes in his size. I put him in a 2 small little girls' sleeper because that was all we had, and changed his diaper on a desk because
I don't
that
feel
was
like
also
this is
all
going
we
to
had.
have a happy ending. Like,
oh, just wait.
Okay.
Just wait. Yeah.
And
she's a story, babe. So this is a skill. She's telling a story. Like she's building up how bad it is. So when she gets to the good, it's that much better.
Yes, Jason, I'm aware of
that. Transported him to the foster home. Earlier that night, I had tripped and fallen in the dark because it was the middle of the night and scraped my knee really badly. But I hadn't had time to look at it, address it, see how bad it was. So I limp into this foster home with this little baby. The foster mom was the wife of a pastor, the sweetest woman ever, immediately took the baby from me, made me sit down, cleaned my knee that was horribly scraped up, got me a Band-Aid, got me some water, and sent me on my way, and I was able to go home after that. A couple months, maybe even close to a year later, I moved to the foster care unit and I was assigned this family. I was able to watch this child grow up for about another year and a half, help them work towards their adoption. And right before I left DCS, I was able to go to his adoption hearing and celebrate his adoption.
Oh my goodness.
So yes, it started out very horribly, but I was able, and I've been able to keep in touch with them as well and just watch him grow up and watch him just be the coolest little man ever.
That is amazing. Only God. Oh, that's amazing.
That's a pretty good story. I don't know how we're going to do better than that.
Pretty good, he says.
That's a pretty good story. That's awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
What else from your days in DCS do you think is worth shedding some light on people may not understand?
Ooh, here's a good question. With foster care awareness, well, kind of to, dive deeper from that. Can you enlighten our listeners to appreciating what caseworkers do on a daily basis, right? Like kind of a little bit of experience that way, or your thoughts that way?
I have a couple perfect stories for that.
Okay.
So when I was a pretty new caseworker, I got assigned a case with a newborn baby. I think the baby was about 2 weeks old when I got the case. It was a little girl, and she was the concerns were neglect. So there was concerns about mental health issues with the parents, maybe some intellectual delays, not having everything they needed to bring a baby home, not having transportation to leave the hospital. There had been an initial caseworker assigned that had left the department, so I was stepping in when the child was about 2 or 3 weeks old. Well, they had requested detention at one point. So DCS had requested to remove the baby, and it had been denied, despite all these issues and all these concerns. And so I step into this, and we discover that there's even more going on. There's domestic violence, very severe domestic violence that the parents were not being honest about. This was a really, really hard case for me because I knew about the neglect. Mom was consistently not going to WIC and getting formula. So I know the baby was going without formula sometimes. They were not following safe sleep. The baby would oftentimes be sleeping on a blanket on the floor next to mom. There were so many concerns. And over the next year, multiple times, me and my supervisor and our attorney would go to the judge and request removal of this baby. We would present all the concerns. We would present the domestic violence, the neglect, the going without food. But it kept getting denied.
Wow.
So multiple times a week, on top of juggling all my other cases, I would go to this mom's apartment just to make sure the baby was alive.
Oh, what my goodness.
And every single time I would walk up the stairs to that door, I would just be terrified that this was the time the baby was going to be dead. We were getting police reports that talked about dad beating up mom, dad pushing mom down the stairs with the baby in her arms. Like, there was legitimate fear that this child could die, and we kept getting denied. There was one time that we were on a virtual court hearing for this case, and there was a no contact order between the parents, and we were able to see the parents violating the no contact order on the court hearing.
And you couldn't do anything about it.
But the judge was actually legally blind and couldn't see that this was happening.
Oh my goodness.
And so they got away with it. And by the time I got to the apartment with police, dad had already left.
Wow.
This continued for 364 days. The day before this baby's first birthday, we finally got the order to remove her. By that point, she'd already been severely neglected, and witnessed all of this domestic violence for her first whole year of life. And it had a huge impact on her. I was able to follow the case to her adoption and attend her adoption hearing and everything like that. But that case, every single time I think about it, I just get a pit in my stomach. And I just get so frustrated because I was doing what I was supposed to. My supervisor was trying to do what she was supposed to. We were doing the right things, offering the services, making sure all the support's in place. But ultimately, it was up to the judge. What happened to that child?
Did this judge say why he denied it? All the removals?
Every time it would be, oh, well, mom's gotten formula now. Oh, there's no contact order in place, so they just need to follow it.
We need to have another episode sometime. You and maybe Braylon come on, and we can just all talk about judges.
No wonder why you're so passionate, like with Champions for Children too.
I don't jump ahead.
I'm not. You already said it.
No, I did not. I did
Yeah,
not.
In her intro, you did.
Well,
Yeah. See?
yeah, it's hard because it was ultimately a different judge that made the choice to remove that child. It just took going in front of a different judge before we were able to do the right thing.
Mm.
But it left its impact.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that trauma, like the baby's been exposed. Oh, gosh.
Yes. Another story that this will scare some people a little bit, maybe. I was
okay.
assigned a case. There was two girls that were out of home in a foster home that was in the process of adopting them, and 3 kids in home with the bio parents that had a different dad. Along the way, well, back up a little bit, I guess. I was assigned this case because another caseworker got fired. So that's never a good starting point for a case anyways.
Right.
I was driving down the road, gave the foster mom a call. At the time, she was very frustrated and yelled at me on the phone because, they thought the previous caseworker was doing what they were supposed to. I am doing my research and seeing that they were not, and now I have to go back in and do the legwork to push their adoption forward while I'm still trying to work with the mom and dad of the other kiddos and try to get them, the help and support they need. Along the way, we discovered that there's an issue with their youngest, a brand new baby, involving failure to thrive, broken bones, things like that. So we are at Riley, I think it was, and we served the detention order. The dad immediately started yelling threats and threatening to kill us and things like that, which was not the first time I'd been threatened. My life had been threatened in that way. But over the next couple days, it continued. As we removed all the kids in that situation, not just the baby, the threats continued that he was going to kill us, he was going to follow us home, he was going to do things like that. At one point, he got in my face and told me he was going to send the cartel after me.
Oh.
Now, that was the first time I'd gotten a threat like that before. We weren't sure if he had any cartel connections or anything like that, so we were like, okay. But the police did look into it and did discover he had cartel connections. So we started the process of getting a no contact order in place.
Oh my goodness.
We worked with the Attorney General to get those in place and get them ordered and things like that. And the case was given to another caseworker. Over the next couple months, he proceeded to show up to the office despite being told that he was not allowed to, and essentially stalk me. It was quite a lengthy process. He eventually ended up getting no jail time, no punishment whatsoever for his threats and stalking. And this is going to sound like a movie or made up. He misunderstood the judge saying no jail time, that his jail time was suspended, went home, beat up his wife, was arrested, went on to a work release program. The kids had gotten to return to mom at that point. Mom and the kids fled the state, went to the other side of the country, and were trying to hide from DCS and police there. Were eventually found out and brought back. By this point, these kids have been in foster care or involved with DCS their entire lives. They're placed back in foster care. I was able to keep track of one of the girls through the foster parents even after I left DCS and watch how long it took, even in this situation with threatening the caseworker, broken bones, all of that. Keep an eye on what was going on. And was able to run into them at Disney World at Christmas.
Stop.
When we took our kids to Disney World to celebrate their adoption. They were also at Disney World to celebrate theirs.
Oh,
No stinking way.
So that little girl that I helped detain and her dad threatened me, got to run into her at Disney World. Didn't even know she was going to be there, but they
how
were there
do you get to
celebrating her
have so
adoption.
many cool God moments?
I'm bawling in the middle of
Right.
Disney World because this little girl's in front of me with Mickey ears on and a bubble wand, and she's just
Ah,
happy. And
amazing.
it was like,
Amazing.
okay, God,
Right?
that was the worst. That's probably the worst case that I had, and
Oh
the
my
scariest
goodness.
one and the hardest one. But got to run into her at Disney World, thriving with her family.
That is incredible.
It was
Wow.
awesome.
Mariah, at least you've gotten us a lot of closure on some of your stories. I'm sure the ones that bug you the most are the ones you haven't had closure on.
Yes.
In the world of foster care awareness month, in the world in general of foster care, I think a lot of times the DCS caseworkers are both the most forgotten and vilified. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
How can people are cognizant about serving foster parents? How can people serve caseworkers? How can we help caseworkers be successful?
Absolutely. I get to do some of that in my job. So, our church set aside budget every year to be able to serve our caseworkers through lunches and gifts
That's
and
amazing.
things like
Kudos to
that.
them. I love that.
I love that that's part of my job
What
and
a
I get
privilege.
to do that.
Yeah, to get to do
Yes,
that.
I get to go back. I get to pour into these caseworkers that some of them I worked alongside during my time there.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
get to be able to minister to them in this position.
Mhm.
I think that individuals can do similar things. They can write notes to caseworkers. They can drop off donuts. They can drop off lunch. They can
Yeah.
drop off gifts, drop off energy drinks, water, sodas, just
So true. Yeah.
simple things that just bless the caseworkers and help them. When they're in those middle of the night detentions, they're going to need those energy drinks.
That is such a good idea. Just like
Yeah, just a little,
like
just
Costco
pick,
or Sam's Club
absolutely.
cases, and here you go. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's the energy drink of choice for caseworkers?
Monster and Alani.
Alani, yep.
Yep, those are the two that I
love
get the
that.
most requests for.
Okay.
We stock a couple offices, coffee bars. Every couple months we'll refill their K cups and their tea and their, coffee syrups and things like that. But individuals can do that too and step into that space and just let caseworkers know that they're praying for them, that they have their back. Not engaging with the news when it comes to stories about caseworkers and DCS, knowing that there's probably two sides to that story. When they say it's a broken system, they mean that. It's not. An individual does not cause this chaos. And so it's not the individual caseworker's fault. They're doing the best they can with what they have. And they're doing it with not enough pay, not enough sleep, not enough food.
Well, whenever you give somebody too much work they're capable of doing, they can't do the work well.
No. Yeah, I think back to my time at DCS, and I don't know how I survived as long as I did. I'm glad to not be there anymore. I'm glad to be able to bless caseworkers from this side of things.
As we wrap up the DCS, go ahead, Whitney.
It's such an honor to get to serve people in that way, especially when you've been in that space, right? And you've been on the receiving end of the hatred, right? And the judgment and the meanness.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a hard space to be in, but there's also so much good. And so
there really is.
For every one bad egg, there's a million more that are doing the right thing. Yes. And so I think people just need to remember that.
As we wrap up, what is one thing about DCS caseworkers you want? What you just shared might be the answer, but what's one additional thing you would want people what's the most misunderstood thing? What's one thing you want everybody to understand?
that they're just normal people trying to make a difference. Every single person that gets into social work, that gets into case management, is doing so because they want to make a difference. And so just keeping that in mind and knowing that they are trying to do good, that they're trying to do their best. Their goal is not to put kids in danger. Their goal is not to make foster parents' lives difficult. They're juggling a million things that we will never see.
So true. What a good reminder.
I would challenge everybody listening. Yes, go serve a foster family, serve a foster kid. Don't forget about those caseworkers. As Moriah has shared, they do a ton, and I think they are the most overlooked and underappreciated group in this whole broken system.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm so glad you shed light on that.
I love talking about my time as a caseworker.
Yeah.
It's not talked about enough.
Right. And with our podcast, we haven't really covered that either. And, when we talk about dreaming small, there are so many ways you can live that out while blessing the people who are truly in the trenches of this system.
Absolutely.
All right, Moriah, thank you so much for the time that you spent with us today. What a blessing it is to have you and to hear your story. And honestly, this is the top of the iceberg for you, because you have so much more to
She'll be
share,
back.
So much more wisdom and experience that I want you to share. I want our listeners to hear. So I'm so thankful for your willingness to be on, and I hope to have you on again soon. And listeners, you guys, you just got a lot of really great ideas for how you can dream small this week and in the weeks to come. So thank you for being here, Moriah. You're a hero. Truly, you're a rock star. So thank you. And until next week, you guys keep dreaming small.
Thank you for listening to the Dream Small podcast. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please tap that follow button and leave us a review. It helps other people find my mom and dad's show. If you're on Spotify, please give my parents a follow and a 5-star rating. And wherever you listen, don't forget to share the show with a friend who needs a little encouragement today. You can also follow us on social media to stay in the loop. Instagram at Dream Small Podcast, Facebook Dream Small Podcast, Twitter or X at Dream Small Show. Or email us anytime at dreamsmallpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you. And remember, just dream small. See you next time.